Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do the Wheel of Time trailer breakdown. So, as always, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and let's begin. So here we are. We got the Wheel of Time trailer. I already did my reaction to it. I really liked it. There's some stuff in it that I'm completely confused by and doesn't look familiar at all, but that's kind of the fun part of adaptations. Some of the changes can make things either better or kind of rip your heart out and stomp on it. But we have to have an open mind, and hopefully everything that's changed and everything that's like smoothed out will work out really well. So let's go ahead and take a look at the trailer again and see what cool little things we can notice. So I have it queued up here. I have it already paused. So let's just get started and jump right into it. Ooh, I like that. So right off the bat, let's take a look at that. So we have who is clearly Egwene and Nynaeve. There is something going on here. To me, it almost looks like she's trying to awaken her abilities or something, but we know that's not really how it goes down. Like, women who can channel can kind of sense other women who can channel, and both of them at this moment probably, know next to nothing about any of that, so I doubt that's kind of what's happening here. But it's a really cool way to open the trailer, because I was looking at my reaction and my eyes just immediately went wide. I'm like, what? So yeah, let's keep going. Good old Amazon.
The
Really
Wheel of
happy.
Time.
I'm really hoping, like, I just want to say real quick that I hope Amazon does a great job with this and the Tolkien series. Hopefully that'll be the thing to inspire me to get back into Lord of the Rings, the books, like, cause I've tried multiple times to read them and it just doesn't happen. But yeah, I'm really optimistic for this, because like I like the boys, so hopefully the same level of attention and detail goes into this.
Turns.
So in this next shot, we have a look at what I believe to be the two rivers. It's Emmons Field, and it looks. I like the way it looks. This is kind of vaguely medieval-ish, but not really. It feels very fantasy world kind of, and I like it because this world is implied to be post-apocalyptic, but post-apocalyptic in a way that the old world was so completely scoured and sanitized that we've started all over. So this idea that some of it will come out looking again medieval as compared to some stuff that some of us might want, I think is okay, because apart from the fact that the wheel of time is the wheel of time, like, so everything's to a degree is cyclical, so it kind of makes sense to some of those architectural points, and some of those design standpoints will definitely come through. So let's keep going.
Turns.
In this scene, we got our three here. I really like it. And I noticed too on the table we got Matt. He already got some dice on the table. So that's like very much in character. We got him being goofy, so like the characterization seems correct. I really like that. And we got Perrin over here, who definitely does in this shot at least look bigger than both of them, like already. Like he's already bigger. And I kind of like that, because it seems like they've aged up the characters. They're definitely going to probably skip through that whole YA situation that the first few books had and kind of just meld a lot of that stuff in with them already being more mature, which I'm a fan of. And we have Kiddo, Egwene, and Nynaeve. We have them both in the same set.
And
Okay.
ages come and
And look at all we got Rand. Let me go back to that a second. We have that little happy boy smile. So this idea too, I'm kind of curious about this, because we know that there is a lot of will they won't they with Rand and Egwene. So the whole thing kind of boils up into the point where, because of their separation, when they're not in proximity to each other, at least that's my thought, because they're not around each other as much, their feelings for each other kind of cool, and they kind of both go in different directions a little bit. So I wonder if one of the changes that they're making is that instead of this situation where everybody knows that they have a crush on each other, we have a situation where they're actually dating early on, and then like they fall out of love with each other, or something goes down and they break up, instead of just being in a situation where they never get together. I kind of like that, because I like the idea of having explored it and then knowing it's not for you, versus just them saying, okay, we're not even going to pursue it. So that kind of is one of the signs I think I see that implies that we're going to kind of mature it up a little bit. So yeah, let's keep going.
pass,
Ooh.
leaving memories.
I just want to call out this shot again, like a second, because I really love the locations that they're using. They look so good. Like, this is probably, where is it, Slovenia or somewhere over there where they got really great landscapes. So this is really cool. I'm liking that it looks different. It's not, very I mean, I don't know. It's probably tropish to say things like New Zealand because that's where Lord of the Rings is filmed and stuff. So the fact that they're not going in that direct direction and they're choosing other locations that are a little different than the aesthetics that we're used to in this genre is also something that gives me a little bit of, give me some hype. He makes me a little more hype and gives me a reason to be a bit more optimistic.
Memories.
This, I do not know what's going on here. Part of me thinks it could be Luz Theron, but he's holding what looks like an Aes Sedai ring and he's crying. So could he be a warder, but he's wearing white? So is he a white cloak? But what warder would be crying over the death of an Aes Sedai at this point? I don't really know. So I'm very confused. This is clearly a change or flashback or something like that. There's something going on here. I don't recognize it exactly, but I'm hyped to see it.
That become
This.
legend.
I really like this. This is a great visual. This is a great use of it. I'm assuming this is like Egwene becoming an accepted, maybe something like that, or like something leading up to that. Maybe it's like the women's circle tradition thing, but maybe not. I don't know. It could be like a lot of things. I just like this visually because all the colors and stuff, it implies like the different ajas and everything. So that's why I kind of lean more to the idea this is her going to the White Tower. But I feel like that's a little quick. I mean, I guess you could do it later on in the season if they push some of their stuff up a little bit, but I don't know. Like I mean, I don't. I guess we'll just have to see. So I'm having a hard time predicting it or placing some of these things, but I am liking this a lot. This is a great visual, and I love the way it's clear. Like I love the way it's done because it's clear she's like painted before she went into the water, so they can kind of give the impression that all the paint's like stand on her. So I just really like the way this is accomplished. Based on best-selling books, of course. And here we have Tarvalin. And we have what looks like Dragon Mount in the back. I like it. You get a little smoke coming out of it. A little smoke, nice. Not completely ready to, cause problems, but it's definitely speaking a little bit. And I really like how this city looks. It's different, quite different than what I imagined in my head. It reminds me of quite a bit of King's Landing with the whole being on the hill and kind of going up to the White Tower, but like the castle, the palace situation. And the White Tower is very different. I kind of in my head I kind of pictured it like this basically the citadel, kind of like, well, ironically similar to the way the lighthouse looks in Game of Thrones. If I can find a picture, I'll probably pull it up. But it just kind of in my head I always pictured it a lot more solid, like solemn, like a lot more by itself, a lot more solo, just like a centralized kind of thing on the island, and like had a huge breath of space and stuff. I don't know. I just pictured it so much more in solitude, so much more by itself, so much more isolated, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I picture, because here it feels so much like truly a part of the city, and I didn't really expect that, but I'm totally here for it. And then here we have Moraine, I believe, getting back to the White Tower, which could be another like push forward thing, because I don't know. I went through like the first 5 books pretty closely together, so there could be some things and timelines that are mushing in my head. But I feel like some of this stuff happens later than what is implying like how soon it's happening here, because I don't recall Moraine going back to the White Tower until a little bit later. So yeah, if that's even what's happening right there.
All over the world.
And then, like I said, my reaction, the water here is so cranked, the color correction, and I think I really like it. So I was kind of skeptical about it at first. And I'm like, that's some major contrast. Like, I mean, I don't know, like maybe this location just has beautifully teal water or something. I don't know, but it's this idea of changing the lighting and changing the color correction and stuff so that it doesn't give off this visual hint that it is medieval. Because a lot of the secrets to like, well, not even secrets, but like the use of lighting in Lord of the Rings or any other classic fantasy that feels medieval, they have similar lighting. So the fact that this changes the lighting and changes the color contrast and cranks it and stuff, I think is a good way to show that it's not exactly the same as something like a medieval fantasy Lord of the Rings or Aragon or anything like that. It's unique and it's in its own little bubble of time. So it's really cool that they're showing it visually like that. At least my assumption is that's the reason why it's like that. It could just be a directorial decision.
All over the world, there are different names for it.
This it's so much smaller and quaint than I expected. I expected like the councils, like all the channelers, all the women, like to be bigger. Like I don't know, like just like a much larger room. I expected there to probably be like 20 of each color or something like that. But I guess this leans more into the idea they were saying their numbers are smaller, like drastically smaller than they used to be, so maybe that's supposed to reflect this. But that chamber itself seems so small and quaint that it's like it's not out of the ordinary that there would only be, you know, 3 of each. So maybe this is even more high council thing than I'm thinking of. So I don't know. But I do also like the colors here. But some of the colors, like the reds, they're all super red. Their reds are very unmistakable. But like the greens, like I'm not sure if over here on the right are these greens as well, and they're just wearing very tones of green. Like we got olive green and kind of a grayish green and stuff, as compared to these greens, because that's a very different green from that green and that green. But like, you know, and also similar with the blues, we have individual different types of blues. So maybe that's what's going on here. It's a little harder to easily identify the Aja when they do that, but it also makes more sense. They don't, you know, they're not all going to be dressed like twins and everything, so it makes total sense.
But it's one thing.
And here, Swan. See, I wasn't sure if this is Swan, but we're fairly certain now that this is, and I really dig this. Like, in my head, the Amerlin seat, like her outfit, like, I just pictured it way more rainbow, like kind of a white gown and like had like rainbow shawl tassel thing, like rainbow, like almost garish rainbow. This subtlety they did of all the colors in her outfit looks so cool. Like it just works so well. She looks really regal. She looks powerful. She looks vaguely ageless, because in another scene she looks older than she does right here. So I don't know if that's like airbrushed or if it's just the kind of concept of agelessness. But like I kind of like this idea of agelessness, not just meaning, you know, young forever. It's the idea of you can look like you're about 60 years old, but when you speak, you're speaking wisdom that clearly lives through the ages. Like you're somebody who's lived, you know, 600 years or more, but you might only look about 60 or something like that. So I kind of like that idea. If they'll play with it a bit more and also allow the actresses to not have to deal with, you know, either being filtered all the time or heavily made up in order to try to look younger or, you know, ageless and that kind of thing. So I'm really, really liking this so far. And all the gold and all this stuff is very different. The whole, I mean, it's the White Tower, yes, but like a lot of it is like gold and this kind of rustic metal white kind of thing going on. Different than I expected, but I'm really digging it. I like these differences. It makes it feel almost more ethereal, I guess. I really dig it. Channeling, we have some channeling. So the channeling. So this is basically what I was kind of expecting to have to happen. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with the show A Discovery of Witches. So in that show, which is also based on some books, the witches in that series uses magic based on elements, the 5 elements: earth, wind, water, fire, spirit. So they channel through weaving the power based on those elements, exactly the way channeling works. And in that show, they have their weavings color coordinated whenever they show someone actually use the webs. So because I feel like because of that, this won't do colors. Like it's all just going to be like pure life energy and stuff. And we as like readers and stuff know that they're channeling, or we can infer they're channeling, you know, different elements and all this stuff. Like later on, we see Moraine channel lightning. Like we know she's channeling like wind and water and spirit and stuff. But it just kind of looks like her just doing epic badass magic. So I think it's kind of like an easy kind of visual for the audience while not encroaching on like visuals of other shows, other properties and stuff without, you know, kind of copying them a bit.
And women who can touch it.
Red, gotta love the red. I don't recognize any of those reds, but they're proper red. They're like, look, we don't care. Like, this is what I dig too. Like, her face, very young, very mid-level young, but her kind of more mature. But like, as far as we know, like, I like the idea of the concept of agelessness, meaning like she could be the oldest person in this area. Like she could, like the idea that their visual age telling like means nothing. Like not just that they're all young looking, but just the perception of what you see is nowhere near correct. Like it's, so I kind of like that idea.
We protect the world.
Supposed to. And here, and we have some wind channeling, which I imagine, which is cool. Like the way in which they weave, because I've always kind of, I'm going to talk about weaving a little bit, so I'm going to talk about weaving again and again. The way they weaved in the books, I always literally picture it basically them standing still and controlling the flows of the one power just, through their ability to channel. So not so much them actually picking weaves and like tying spells or doing anything like that, or even doing as much visualization as we see here. Like it's always described, like the fight between Nynaeve and Lanfear the first time, like when they're first going against each other. They basically describe it as two women standing there staring at each other like this battle of wills. They're not doing a lot visually. So just the fact that they did anything visually, like even the little the CPR kind of hand motion for healing and stuff, I like it, like, because it gives a lot more. It's a lot better in my head than like that thing Moraine does, where she just grabs the side of your head and put her forehead to yours and like heal you that way. To me, that's pretty boring. So I really like the fact that they've changed it up and done all this kind of stuff. Oh, I think that's an important location over there. I can't quite tell. It doesn't look dark and evil enough. Oh well. Maybe it should be shadow level. And I like the attention to detail. Like I think I may have said it in the reaction, but I just called out the wool because all the descriptions of like Rand's clothes and like a lot of the clothes early on, it's just so much wool. So in my head, I'm like they're all very itchy and it's probably summer and it's like whatever. But like I love the fact that like clearly she purred her outfit and all this stuff. Got his bow, and then as I said in the trailer, that damn dagger. So this is almost exactly how I pictured it because Matt has this like sneaky kind of thing to him. So I really did picture him like kind of slyly looking at it and stuff and basically honing in on that ruby. And like it just it looks so good. I'm so excited for how they play this. I hope it comes with like his level of maturity. I hope it's triggered as a result of this experience and not so much just, what happens to him around book 5. So I hope this kind of, jump starts his character development and kind of get out of, because he was very whiny for quite a while, especially after dealing with the dagger stuff. So I hope they kind of fast forward through some of that. So yeah. We have the darkness spreading. That looks a little different. If this is what I'm thinking it is, I can't remember what that stuff is. It's like the corruption stuff going all over. Can't remember. But it looks cool. I like it. Very, very dark, though. Very dark. I mean, very dark, actually. That's probably a story point, hopefully. And I've heard people say that this might be an IL. The outfit does remind me of how they described them with their black vests and all that stuff. But, like, I don't know. In my head, I never pictured them really covering their heads. I thought the whole sand ginger thing was kind of like a cool enough, big enough deal that it would be flaunted, like even because I picture them as basically being like Fremen, vaguely Middle Eastern, but for whatever reason having red hair and gray eyes, like so they just kind of stand out. So I kind of pictured it like that. And then of course we got Matt here. I like this older because they feel very young in the early books to me. Well, I'm only 5 books in, but like they feel kind of young. Like I like they're scruffy, they got beard and stuff, and they still look kind of clean, but I'm feeling it more. I'm feeling it more than the way some of it is described in the book. I'm getting much better visual information than just Jordan's descriptions. Hopper! Okay, so we can assume, my assumption is that this is Hopper, and this is going to be Perrin's like first little wolfy interaction. Whether or not this is a dream or something, don't know yet. I hope the dreams are, very visually obvious that it's a dream, like even something as basic as blurred, edges around the screen or something. But like, this is so cool. He's clearly super CGI wolf, but look at those teeth. Super white teeth for a wolfie. Then I got my boy Perrin. He looks so innocent. Something about Marcus, like he just looks so innocent to me. Like I just can't wait till he gets more of like werewolf knowledge and like I just hope his contacts they do golden eyes. Like I hope it doesn't get crappy, but maybe they'll only do it when he's like using his wolf brother abilities or something, and they'll do CGI and like make it glow or something like that. That could be kind of cool. But I really do think like how in the books, like Perrin getting the beard and stuff is kind of a part of like a way to track his characterization and like his development and everything. I think here we're going to get a situation where Marcus is going to end up with like a full beard and probably dread out a little bit, and kind of like that's going to be the same kind of thing. We're going to just imply it through just massive hair growth instead of, just that. And probably even, hopefully they told Marcus to hit the gym so he can kind of, get a little more ripped and stuff so he can just be gigantic by the time he's going to be Lord of the Two Rivers and stuff. So that could be season 3 or 4, who knows? So yeah, let's just keep going.
Heartbreak.
And this right here, this part also to me, this implies what I was saying earlier, that they will have been together for a little bit and gave it a shot, like tried this little relationship thing to see if it was worth them, continuing and stuff. And it seems that, because they've been aged up a bit, they're not young, so they're probably already bumping uglies and stuff, which is cool. So we can kind of get past that very hard, clear adulthood transition point that exists in the books. I don't know this one. That is Roose Bolton. He is from Game of Thrones, so he automatically got credit, and I think that's Tom. If Roose Bolton is Tom, I'm all about it. I'm all about it. He just, I don't know, if it is, my only issue is that he seems very stoic and stuff. To me, Tom always has this kind of undercurrent of like comedy and snark a little bit under him, like just a little bit of like the core of him is a more sarcastic, jovial person. So like this kind of interpretation of him being just straight up serious and stuff, if that is him, I'm not certain. Like it's different, but I'm all about it. But considering what he's actually talking about in this moment, it's probably requires a little bit of seriousness. And then this, I like that juxtaposition. That must be the Winter's festival thing that happens before all the stuff goes down. That's got to be what this is. One thing that's so weird, I think it's a little weird, but this is something that I super noticed when I was watching. I'm like, man, that dirt is super clean. Like, why is that? Like, why is it so clean? It almost doesn't look like dirt. It looks like somebody put like burlap down over concrete and claimed it was dirt or something. I don't know. It just looks so clean to me. It's weird. And I just noticed it, and now I have to make sure you all notice it too. So let's jump over to the cool juxtaposition to all these bodies. Which I don't know if this is meant to be the same situation, like when the town gets attacked and stuff and so many people die. Like, is that what this is supposed to be? And like they have some Aes Sedai come and show up and probably like, I guess the equivalent of funeral rites, but I don't know. So like it's just this juxtaposition kind of makes me feel like those two situations are connected, unless it's just a visual connection. So who knows? We'll see. And then that also, it makes me feel like, okay, this, as far as visual language, you go from those bodies to this makes me feel like those dead bodies are all dead Aes Sedai. But having come from the town visual, it kind of confuses me. So I don't know. But this kind of pressing up in the White Tower is pretty much what I imagined. I imagined it very much. I imagined like a lot of like atriums kind of set up, just like the tower being mostly empty and like the kind of the inside almost catacomb. Like, I don't know, it's hard to describe the way I thought about it. I think I was impressing a little bit of your theory thoughts on it too. But either way, I like the way it looks. It's the White Tower, so of course we got all this white marble and stuff. It's really cool. Still a fairly small room compared to what I would have imagined, but I dig it.
The Dark One is coming through.
Ooh, that is a murderer. We know it is, so it has to be, because I'm wondering, like, we get another shot later of what I assume to be a bunch of Trollocs, but we don't really get any details. So the Trollocs are always described as basically half human, half, like, animal thing. So, like, they have beaks and claws and all this kind of stuff. So I always immediately pictured the Murderer, like, as compared to the Trollocs, to be pure, straight-up demon creatures. So this is awesome. This looks like my wildest dreams version of that snake Voldemort version that he was supposed to be, the one that's supposed to have red eyes from the book and stuff. Like, those lips are crazy. I almost feel like that bottom one splits or something. Like, it's so cool, and I like it. And I like the horse has the skull mask. A little cliche, but it's always cool to see a little horse with a little edge lord feel to him. Lan, gotta love Lan. This he so embodies pretty much the only issue I have. Like, he embodies everything about Lan that I thought, but I kind of imagine Lan as always in armor, like hard armor, like not leathers and fabrics and stuff. I picture him basically walking around in the equivalent of shard plate at all times or something, like some kind of one power made armor or something like that. But anything was ever actually truly said about that apart from like regular armor and stuff. But that was just my thing. So maybe later on when stuff gets like real intense, he will like break out his armor and stuff before like some really crazy battles or something. Or maybe in flashbacks to like, the time period of the prequel. Maybe, I don't know. There's more. I love this so much. Oh, that's such a good little stop. I'm keeping it right there. Like, Rand is basically running very logical. Like, I mean, I guess as logical as you can. Like, no, we gotta go. And some reason, Matt's sleeves are being passed his hands and just flailing around just gets me. It just makes my heart smile for some reason. It's just so funny to me. I'm sorry, that went a little ahead. And like, oh, that's a great shot of his face too. He looks so freaked out. I love it. Let's keep going. But this, so I'm guessing the only like through process of elimination, the only people I can imagine these people being are like Logain supporters. Because for a minute I was like, are they white cloaks? But they're clearly not wearing white cloaks, and they don't look as organized as I imagine the white cloaks are going to be. Like, so maybe not. Like, and there's just like, so I'm guessing it has to be just Logain supporters, just people from around and all that kind of stuff. So maybe there's going to be more Logain because like we have coming up. So like I don't recall this at all. Like I don't recall anything like this from the book, like Logain escaping and stuff. Like, cause it just I feel like we heard about it. Like he was a false dragon and he got captured and stuff. Like that was mostly we heard about it. Like it didn't go into this kind of thing. So maybe they'll show more of that stuff we only heard about, and maybe they'll show more of stuff that happened before the book started and stuff. So because more, I don't know how big Logain becomes, but I know he just popped back up in the books that I'm in. So I imagine that he's going to continue on through the back or the last 10 books I gotta go through. So if that's the case, then maybe they're bringing him ahead a little bit early so he can have more of a through line story throughout the entire show instead of just popping up like season 4 or 5 or something like that. So I kind of dig it, and I love this show. Like this idea. Well, I'm gonna keep going and then explain about that a little bit more. I really like that. Okay, this is also something different, but this idea of so kind of a meta thing here, right? So this idea of the women only being able to channel, there is probably some consideration. They've probably thought about it. There's probably been some consideration put into the idea that in real life, some people, the internet, they're going to have problems with the fact that like these women are powerful and they're channelers, and they're going to basically cry sexism and all of this stuff, even though the whole point of it is like flipped sex, whatever. Whole thing, the internet, the way people could end up being. So I wonder if they're going to try to do this thing where they show Logain actually do a lot of stuff, like kill all these Aes Sedai, break out and all this stuff, and actually give a true visual of how dangerous men can be with the power, basically as a method of explanation as to why the women are the most powerful and all this kind of stuff. I don't know. Maybe they will in order to try to cover their asses on that, but we'll see, I guess. So let's keep going. Oh yeah, this scene right here, where I paused. Moraine getting clearly back to the White Tower. So I'm assuming this is when it happens later, or I'm assuming this is when it happens, like the first time she gets back after we've met her not in the tower. So and there's clearly like a council type situation happening, so she's probably definitely telling them about Rand having been born and confirmed that he is the dragon.
He's coming.
And yeah, so this is what I was talking about too. Actually, both of these. I feel like I'm pausing like every half second. Like Swan right here, the actress, she's beautiful. But like this, I feel like I can feel the scene. It's like her basically saying, cause especially knowing what I know after getting through the prequel, like she's been thinking about this stuff and dealing with this stuff with Moraine for 16, 17 years or whatever. So the idea that like they know that this is real, this is what's happening, this is what's going on, she probably would look a little exhausted, like, man, this is like, like kind of almost hyped about it, but terrified for it and knowing it's happening and it's inevitable and stuff. So I feel like a lot of characterization coming from that shot.
He's coming.
And these, I assume, are the Trollocs. Like, you can't really see anything, but like we see the horns and all this stuff, and I don't know, is that a horse over there or something? But I don't know, I'm happy that they look so different than orcs and stuff like that, because, yeah, very classic, almost boring fantasy thing there. A lot of, like, because in Aragon, they basically just went with the same thing as they did in Lord of the Rings kind of stuff, was ripping it off. So, yes, go very different, change it up, well, not, so much change it from the books, but make sure it's very different visually from fantasies that we know, because I really want this to stand out different so people can understand that fantasy adaptations can be things that aren't just a rip-off of Lord of the Rings.
The only thing that matters
Moraine land, gotta love that song. So what battle is that though? I don't know. I do want to make a complaint, just a random complaint as somebody who loves weapons. These axes. So while they're very much not medieval, which they shouldn't be, as an axe, it's not like an axe. It's not a swinging axe, heavy head meant for stronger blows kind of thing. These are slicing axes. This is meant for quick battles, slices on either side, going back and forth kind of thing. So, which I think is cool because anybody having a weapon like that in the typical medieval fantasy, it will be a classic axe. It will be a battle axe or something like that. And the fact that these aren't, I think, is unique. But my only issue about the production of it is that they're so shiny and so clean. It's like, were they just made? Are they magical in nature or something? Why are they so clean and shiny? Like, it doesn't feel proper battle used or battle worn. And he's clearly launching at what looks like Logain in prison, or somebody imprisoned. I think that's Moraine over there, so maybe she's shielding somebody. I don't know what's going on here, but I'm interested. Very interested. Super curious. And then we got Lan just taking out some Trollocs. Let's see if we can get a little better view of those Trollocs. He just tripped up 3 of them. Okay. Yeah, it's still just very blurry, but I like there's a lot of detail in there. I don't know if we've got like, big jaw protruding out or something like that's going on here. I don't know. But I am loving this sword fight and I can't wait to see. Is that a way gate? That's something I didn't quite so beautiful. We're gonna talk about that in a second. Is that a way gate? So if that's a way gate, it's quite different than what I pictured, because weren't the way gates basically up against a wall, like overgrown with like shrubberies and leaves and all this stuff, and Loyal had to use like Ogier magic, basically like earth, like nature magic and stuff to make it open and stuff. I mean, I guess you still have to because it's just an empty archway. I guess in order to make like the portal situation, you got to do something. But that is very much more. That's closer to what I would think an Oathgate looks like from Stormlight. That's very different. Well, actually, no. Scratch Oathgate. Those are very different. I don't know. That's not what I expected, but I guess that's fine. And having it just like in the middle of the nowhere, it just it doesn't feel very Ogier-ish to me. I want to be more around more trees and things, but that's fine. I guess it's a way of travel. Whatever. It's fine, I guess. But yeah, that is a little complaint I do have about it. And I also don't see Loyal anywhere. So maybe that's supposed to be Loyal way back here or something, but no, that's a person on a horse, so it's definitely not. Maybe they meet him later, but he's supposed to help them get through the gate. No, I don't know. Maybe he's somewhere in the shot and they just CGI'd him out. Maybe, hopefully. I just know Loyal better be around somewhere. That boy, yes. I love that so much. That's so cool. It's very different than what I expected, because in my head, I just had like demonic creatures in my head from the books. But like this idea, no nose, no eyes and stuff, just all mouth and teeth. This one is clearly different than the one that was sitting on the horse. It doesn't have that weird like split jaw thing happening. So I don't know if like, I guess, yeah, because like similar in the books, the merger are all, they're not just copies of each other or whatever. So maybe there's more variation to them. So maybe they'll get even more gruesome the more we see. So I'm cool with that. I like that a lot. Give me all the dark fantasy stuff. Give me all the creepy crawlies. And then more Trollocs. This shot, I have a problem with this. This is a horrible composite. This looks so bad to me. Like, clear that this man is not in the same shot as the background. It is either the lighting is so terrible that it gives off that impression, or you are clearly standing amongst green screens, because the environment isn't even falling on him. The snow or ash or whatever is not even falling on him. This is a bad composite. Like, I can't not see it. And it's so clear. I don't know if it's just a play on the way the lighting is done, but also the fact that there's this green reflection of green in the light in his hair means that is green screen, because the light that they're using for Moraine's channeling is bouncing off of the green screen and hitting some of his hair. This is a bad composite. I'm good to say. But this is cool. Like I was saying earlier, the idea of more visual movement, more actual movement happening and use of the channeling, I like a lot. But, I mean, granted, this is in slow motion, so hopefully, because I always, in general too, like the weaving of the power in order to make different effects happen, I always kind of thought that took a second, because you got to think about what colors, and what elements and like what you're doing and stuff like that. And it kind of shows here when she does the lightning. But this is vaguely Avatar. Like, I like the visual movement of it so much versus like Moraine just standing there off to the side while Lan is kicking ass and she's just doing things without doing anything. Like, I like this much better because it shows their work in tandem better. You'll see him like roll up under her and jump up, slice people. Like he's like dodging her magic as she's using it and stuff because they're like connected and all that. So I really like that. I want to see a lot of that cool fight stuff. So that's another solid. I love the lightning. I love when she does the lightning. November 19th. That was one of my old friends' birthdays. But I really, really like this trailer a lot. I really like how it ends with her conjuring the lightning, because to me that was one of the things in the books that it reminds me of Arcane Ascension. In Arcane Ascension, some of their magic works in that way where they have to use two different elements in order to create a third effect. So like wind and fire or something like that, I think is the method by which they use to create lightning in Arcane Ascension. So when I got to the point where Moraine was using lightning and stuff, and then they described her as, you know, pulling weaves of air and spirit and water and stuff to create lightning, I thought that was really cool because it reminded me of that. And then that little pause she does before she like blasts the lightning down before the title card comes up, it reminds me of that moment. So I really, really like it. I dig it so much. There's a lot in here I like. There's some little visual things, like I said, about that shot of land, like badly composited. I don't like that. There's some stuff that I am leaning more towards just being generally optimistic about, because change it, like I really like the series so far, but I do have issues with it. I am kind of up and down on a lot of them. So any changes that are made that'll service making some of this smoother, less like like anything that'll make it smoother and better, I'm a fan of. So I'm all about it. I'm here for it. And this video is going on for very long, so let's go ahead and wrap it up. So I know you've already seen the trailer. What was your favorite part of the trailer? Let me know what you're looking forward to the most about the Wheel of Time TV show. Let me know about that in the comments down below. But make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And I will talk to you all next time. Peace.